This is Share the Vision, presented by the Resource Center, a discussion of the programs and services of the Resource Center and about issues related to individuals with disabilities. Today, we will talk about the 8th Annual Resource Center Symposium at Chautauqua. We have many guests to introduce over the next half an hour, but we can't begin a Share the Vision show without welcoming Steve Watterson, the Community Relations Director here at the Resource Center, to the microphone. Steve, hello. Thank you for setting up today's show.
Hey, Dennis. Thanks for coming down.
A little preview, perhaps set the stage for what's about to happen here on the radio in terms of this event that we're going to talk about today.
This is our annual symposium. We do this every spring up at Chautauqua, and it's an opportunity to bring in some speakers who have regional, statewide, national, sometimes even international renown in the field of disabilities. And we try to cover a whole lot of different aspects pertaining to people with disabilities and things that are currently going on in the field. And it's just a great all-day learning session that we anticipate drawing in about 120, 130 people. And what better place to have an event than Chautauqua Institution?
And this year's event is when?
It's going to be on Wednesday, May 17th.
And should we give information in terms of signing up now, or should we hold on that for a minute?
We can hold off for a while.
All right. Listen, if you are interested, we'll help you get into this year's Resource Center Symposium at Chautauqua. We have many guests in the room, but I want to introduce first Heather Brown, dear friend, Assistant Executive Director for Program Operations here at the Resource Center. Heather, great to see you, and even better to have you on the air once again.
Okay, thanks so much for being here. We always love to do this.
Tell me about this year's symposium and the things that you anticipate will happen this year.
Well, I anticipate it's going to be an absolutely amazing event. It's always a year-long planning, working to get the speakers that come, like Steve said, from all over the country. We've even had international speakers at some point. And we try to bring in topics that will be appealing to not only the workforce at the Resource Center, because it's a great opportunity for training for our staff, but also other community members, whether they work in the healthcare field, the behavioral health field. They might work with individuals with disabilities, but it should be a very wide-ranging, appealing day for a lot of folks, or even just thought-provoking to see what happens in this type of field.
As you set this up for the year, do you have overall goals or ideas in mind in terms of what you would like people to take away from the event, Heather?
We do. We have everything structured from things that will touch advocates about how to get more involved, how to stay in touch with whether it be your local officials or just advocating for yourself. We like to appeal to family members, so we always have a spin on trying to bring in speakers that would be appealing to families who might have folks that live with them that have disabilities. And then we also try to, make it fun with a keynote speaker, a closing, something that has a very, very broad appeal. And this year we brought in Dr. Stephen Burchak. He goes by Dr. Bird, and he is doing our keynote. A few of us had seen him last fall at a conference. Absolutely amazing. Will keep us thinking, laughing, and really, really engaged, I think, to kick off the morning.
Well, tell us a little more then about Dr. Bird and what is so engaging, compelling about his presentation. His background maybe too, Heather.
He's a professor in counseling psychology, and he speaks on a national circuit. Again, I was fortunate. I think Kevin was with me, and we saw him present. And he does really, I would call it very motivational speaking, talking about how things that might overwhelm us on a daily basis that we think are truly a crisis, really, if we put them in perspective, it might just be an inconvenience. And he's written a book by that title. He has a lot of published books and articles in supporting children and engaging children, so it would be very appealing to families. We just got his DVD set that I've loaned some folks here that work at the agency that have kids. It's like the 5 golden rules of engaging with your children, but brings a lot of humor. He's got costumes, he's got hats, and it's just a fun, moves around the stage and will really, I think, knock people's socks off right at 9 a.m.
Okay, let's do a couple of things here. First, We delayed for a moment as Steve was opening the show talking about registration for this, but now you've got a lot of people interested, Heather. So how can they sign up and be a part of this year's symposium?
The registration is online, and you can find the link very easily if you just go to the Resource Center website, which is www.resourcecenter.org. That link will take you right. I believe there's a cover page, Symposium. Click on that, do the normal, fill out your name, address, phone number. You can pay online. The registration fee is $99, $79 if you're a TRC member. So we have a lot of folks in the community that either are already a member or could become a member as they register for the symposium. And that includes, we'll have coffee in the morning as we register, and that includes a nice box lunch on the grounds of Chautauqua. And we have a little bit of time, so hopefully we'll have a nice day like we did last year. And you can sit out on a picnic table and have your lunch and enjoy the beautiful grounds of Chautauqua too. So not a bad deal for $99 for this caliber of speakers.
Heather Brown, an Assistant Executive Director here at the Resource Center. Don't get too far away from that microphone, but you mentioned the name of one of the other people who's on the panel here today, so I'm going to introduce all of them right now. First, Tyler Shaw is a special guest on our program today. Tyler, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you today?
Very well.
And you may recognize Tyler. I did when you walked in the room, but it took me a minute before I got the full recognition. You won a Disability Awareness Award just last fall.
Yes, I did.
What was the award?
Outstanding Achievement.
Well, it's nice to have an outstanding achiever on our program today. Anything you want to say about the seminar, feel free to jump in here after I introduce the other two panelists. One of them is Beth Germain. She's the Support Option Administrator here at the Resource Center. And Beth, it's great to have you on the air as well.
Thank you, Dennis.
And Kevin Anderson is getting frequent flyer miles on Share the Vision these days because he was on not long ago, and he's back again as the Assistant Director for Employment and Community-Based Services. Kevin, always great to have you on the radio.
Good to see you, Mr. Webster.
What more can we say to our listeners? I'll just open this up to the panel in terms of talking about other speakers who are appearing, what the atmosphere is like at the symposium to generate some interest, to give the listeners of this program a little bit of the feel, the flair of all of this.
Maybe we could talk about the panel?
Absolutely.
Last year we had a panel of speakers with people that we support who had involvement with the self-direction plans where they're self-directing their life and partnering with agencies to give them staffing support where they have a lot of choice in who's providing services and supports to them. And it went very well, and this year we are doing it again with a new set of panelists, and one of them is Tyler, and Tyler was going to talk about your self-directed plan during the symposium.
Tyler, give us a little bit, don't tell the whole story now because we want people to go to the symposium, but tell us a little bit about what is a self-directed plan all about? What do you do with one?
Work on your own outcomes and goals and things that help better fit you for the future and all that, and goes on, and you have a little bit more say who do you choose to work with and who do you have to pick to be on your support team, and and all that.
Can you give us a couple of points in your plan, some of the things that you have as a part of what you are doing with your life and your work?
Yeah, as of right now, along with my self-direction plan, I have a support broker, a staff mentor, and I also going through a work plan. It's called Community Pre-Voc, which I do learn different job skills and gain job skills and work on eventually finding a job in the future later on.
You were talking before we got on the air about some of the things you've done recently here, and I'm going to have you say those things in just a moment. But Pre-Voc, I want somebody else to help me and the listeners understand what is Pre-Voc.
Our Community Pre-Voc is an opportunity for the people that are in that program to go into the community, and we set up different work experiences for them. So throughout the time that they're in Community Pre-Voc, they're hopefully getting at least 3 different work experiences that are very different from anything that they may have done. And each work experience is a little bit different in order to give them an opportunity to maybe identify where they would like to eventually get paid employment. So they may be working at TJ Maxx helping in the retail industry. They may be working in a humane society doing some volunteer work at an animal shelter. They may be doing some different experiences in a restaurant environment. Just an opportunity to give the participant and the person that we're supporting a good overview of what work life is like.
Tyler, tell us a little bit about what your pre-voc experience has been so far.
It's been actually really well. It seems like after each assessment, it keeps getting better and better and making good connections and leaving on good terms, and that's what people want these days.
Has there been one or two places that you've had this pre-voc experience so far?
I was at the soup kitchen of Jamestown for the last summer of 2016, and then after that, in the fall, I went to the Red Cross. I was there about roughly 3 months, and then I finished my last one. I just finished off today was at the Humane Society, and then I should start TJ Maxx in the next couple weeks.
So you've had a lot of experience here.
Yeah, pretty much. If you want to say that.
Of the ones that you've done so far, is there a particular one that you've liked the best?
I actually like all of them in their own way, believe it or not. But I think my main favorite would have to say, probably the Humane Society.
Why is that?
Because it gives me a better idea how to help animals, for my own animals, not just that, even for other people's animals in the future.
And you're going to TJ Maxx soon?
Yeah, approximately 2 weeks.
And what will you do there? Do you know? Wait to find out, I guess.
Yeah, wait to find out.
Tyler, thank you for sharing all of this. Are you excited about being on the panel when the symposium comes? Give us your feelings as you look forward to this event in May.
I actually feel very honored and very, happy about it, too. And I know not too many people have this opportunity, and I just feel privileged as it is. But when it gets closer, I would take in all the more, and I feel more aware of it. And like I said earlier about the reward, I'm very proud that I got elected. Chosen for, the reward, too, but I'm proud of myself, too, but I don't like to, rub it in at the same time, but I'm just still proud of myself.
You are confident and optimistic about your future, it sounds like.
Yeah, very much.
How many other people will be on the panel that Tyler will be a part of at the symposium?
5 individuals who receive supports, and they're actually going to be bringing their staff with them. One of the themes that comes through with all of the speakers that we have at this year's symposium is the importance and the relationship between the person being supported and the staff that they hire and or the staff that they work with. And so we wanted to make sure that we were really kind of reflecting on that with the panel this year. So each of the people that receives supports is going to be bringing a staff member with them, and we're going to really be kind of concentrating that section of the symposium on those relationships and how they've been built and how they sustain those relationships, and how much further someone's life can go forward if they have the right staff in their life.
Why is it important to put a bright spotlight on this particular aspect of the work at the Resource Center?
I think that relationships and the relationships that the people that we employ to work with people that we support are essential. And I think if you don't have a good working relationship with the person, we're not going to help anybody's lives move forward. I think it could be a stopping point for certain people. So I think that all the people that we've selected for the panel have some bright spots regarding employing people and have some not so bright spots. Not every relationship works out well, and every time that you hire somebody, it isn't necessarily a good fit. So I think that we're going to tell all of those stories during the symposium.
Beth or Heather, anything else about this particular aspect of the symposium before we zoom out and talk about a few other things here?
I think it's just been important that we can reflect and have not only speakers that are going to talk from a philosophical or from maybe an administrative standpoint, but this kind of, like you said, puts the direct spotlight on the work in action. And like Kevin said, we want examples of what's working and what's not working. And we want to hear everything from this group of people. So we think it's a lot of learning occurs during the panel.
And this is open to, just to repeat this, anyone in the community. Doesn't necessarily have to be someone who's working at or in any way related to the Resource Center or any consumers here. Anyone can come.
Anyone can come. Anyone can register. And I think that even if they're on the fence and maybe not working in this field or not having anything to do with behavioral health or health care, I think they really still would find the day very interesting, very compelling, very thought-provoking. As we move through the day, we have keynote speaker and a panel, and then the afternoon gives some opportunities for some choices. You can hear a variety of different breakout sessions, whether it be on person-centered planning and the type of work that Tyler's doing, that you'll hear a lot of the themes with in the panel. We'll be having another session related to advocacy. We have the executive director from NIAPRS, the New York State Association for Psych Rehab, coming. If you've never heard Harvey Rosenthal speak, he's extremely dynamic and passionate and is probably shouting on the steps of Albany every day about some message related to the ever-changing healthcare world. And then employment in a lot of what Tyler was talking about. We have somebody, Doug Crandall from the University of Georgia. He's a subject matter expert from the mentor program in the U.S. Department of Labor, Office of Disability Employment Policy, real thought-provoking. New York State has adopted, as we all know, a work first. Everybody should be gainfully employed. But how do you get about that? There's a lot of challenges.
I want you were going the direction that I hope that you and other panelists on this program would, Heather Brown. That is you have a great brochure here with pictures and biographies of all of the main presenters and speakers and participants in your breakout sessions. And I just wanted you to talk about the rest of them, you or Kevin or Beth, the others who will be coming, just to fill in, paint in that entire picture for us. Who else?
We also have Carol Blessing and Chris Liuzzo and David Petoniak. I think I'll let Beth and Kevin explain a little bit about them. They've done a lot of work with the three of those individuals recently.
Sure. Carol Blessing does work through Cornell University and does provide a course called Citizen-Centered Leadership, which talks about people with disabilities and how to assist people in gaining their life and building their life through citizenship. And she's a very dynamic speaker. She kind of commands the room. I've seen her a couple times and also have taken the class from her. So she's an excellent speaker.
Others?
Chris Liuzzo. Chris currently works for NYSACRA, but he formerly worked for the Arc of Rensselaer. And Arc of Rensselaer is an agency in New York, and it's Troy, New York, I believe, and a very progressive agency. They've done a lot of different things with supporting people with disabilities and really put their kind of foot or their whole leg into a new risk pool that we typically don't take those opportunities. So he's a very dynamic speaker. He's got a lot of experience. He talks a lot about valued roles in the community and how important they are for people with disabilities to take on those roles.
What kind of roles? I'm interested in this.
Social valued roles, we're talking about positive roles. So people really taking on the role as an employee, as a neighbor, as a cousin, as a son, as a father, those type of roles. And any role that people without disabilities would take on in life. And a lot of people with disabilities don't have those roles for a variety of reasons. And he talks about the importance of people gaining those roles in their life and being able to be those people.
And what was the place that you said Christopher Liuzzo was now working?
He's currently working at NYSACRA.
NYSACRA. Spin that one out for me again. What is NYSACRA?
New York State
Association of Residential Support Services. They're a New York State association that supports organizations like ours.
Thank you very much. And David Petoniak, have we spoken to him yet?
No, but Kevin will speak to him. Big fan.
I've had the opportunity to see David in a 2-day workshop, and he is absolutely brilliant. And he really breaks down looking at people to the things that encourage them to do the things that they do, try to find the challenges that people are experiencing if they have some behaviors that they need some help with, kind of gets to the root problem. And instead of trying to mask the behavior and kind of hide the behavior, kind of really looks at it and brings everybody together to really discover what we can do to help that person live a richer and fuller life.
Any other comments that any of you want to make on any of the speakers before we move on to something else?
Just we didn't mention the last one, Chris Warden. Chris Warden comes highly recommended out of the Buffalo area. He does work with Compeer in Buffalo and, again, is a motivational. He runs personal empowerment workshops through mindfulness, martial arts. I've heard absolutely wonderful things about him. He's really excited to come down, so kind of a very local guy that is going to come down and be part of our event that day. So we're looking forward to hearing from Chris Warden as well.
Let me share with you some of what I've been thinking about as you all have spoken over the last few minutes here about the presenters. And again, this is all about the Resource Center's Symposium at Chautauqua, the 8th annual, May 17th. And I encourage listeners to go to the Resource Center's website or contact the Resource Center early next week for more information on registration for this event. I have been at parts of I can't say that I've been for a whole day, but I've been to parts of the symposium in other years. And one of the things that has happened to me as I have listened to the speakers there, and one of the things that's happening to me again today, is that if there is a line or a barrier or something that separates persons with disabilities from all the rest of the world, that has a tendency to disappear when you begin talking about the challenges, the opportunities, the steps forward that people need to make with their lives to empower them, for them to be successful. It sounds like the same story for people from either aspect of that divide that we sometimes see.
You're very correct. We feel very strongly here as an agency that we help people achieve what they want to be to the fullest extent possible. We have mission statements and vision statements, but this is a really great example of how we can live it, how we can help staff stretch their thinking and not get caught up in the day-to-day the same. We really pride ourselves in bringing in some people that are going to challenge us so we don't get lost and think that there is a line. Like Beth was talking, the life role goal. I think you'll hear Harvey Rosenthal talk about that from the behavioral health perspective. People should never find themselves by their disability, but by their role. If somebody asks you what you do for a living, the immediate thing you talk about is employment, your family, your children, or whatever. So many times the people that we support, we can make the mistake by talking about their disability instead of talking about their role in the world.
Tyler, let me ask you, when we start talking about people's disabilities and abilities, do you have any strong opinions about the language that we use or the way that we approach those things? Are there words we should say and words we shouldn't say?
No, most people, pretty much anybody with a diagnosis, even though they have a diagnosis, most of them have normal lives, or pretty much they're all unique in their own way, but a lot of them does carry jobs, can get married and have kids, can go to college, and can have an actually successful and happy life. A lot of people I don't think see that, but it is very true if you think about it.
Are those things that you mentioned, are those some of your goals in your life?
Yeah, actually they are. Quite a bit of them are my goals. Believe it or not. One day I do want to, get my license and possibly get married if and when I do find the right person, and eventually maybe have kids if the time is right. But I know one step happens at a time, and, go from there.
Well, I applaud you for speaking those goals to us so openly on the radio as we do this program today, Tyler, and I wish you all the best in achieving them. I hope you can achieve them all.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
We are here talking with Tyler Shaw, who's going to be on the panel of special guests at the Resource Center Symposium this year, and some of the other organizers of this event, Beth Germain, Kevin Anderson, Heather Brown. We are at a point in the program where we have about 3 minutes remaining, so I want to take 1 minute here at least to recap, and maybe Heather, you can do this for us, if people have joined us later in the show. We're talking about an event May 17th. Where exactly is it at Chautauqua Institution?
It's on the grounds of Chautauqua. We're going to be between two different buildings because we want to expand the audience a little bit. We're going to be having our keynote and our closing and our panel, which will be the most well-attended at the Lene Hall. And then we'll just be taking the short walk kind of across the, I don't know what that's called, the plaza or the street right there. And we'll be doing the breakout sessions at Bellinger Hall. And like I said, there'll be a box lunch in the middle of the day, so hope for good weather, and we'll be able to just either sit inside Bellinger Hall or picnic in the vicinity.
And the registration can be accomplished through, fundamentally, if people are driving and can't do anything else, if they just Google Resource Center or TRC Symposium, they'll eventually get to the right place.
Absolutely. It's very easy to find.
Is there a sign-up deadline where you want to make sure that everyone is signed up for this?
The week before, we're hoping to have a count by the 10th or 12th of May, but as long as we don't hit that goal, we'll take reservations right up till the end.
All right, so if people want to make sure they get in, it would be wise.
Absolutely.
And you said previously this is $99, but if you're a TRC member, it's just $79.
$79 as a TRC member.
And how much does it cost to be a TRC member?
$10.
$10, Steve Watterson says from a side. So that sounds like a great value.
Absolutely.
Another reason to be a member.
We like a good bargain.
of TRC. We do have a couple of minutes to close. If there are final thoughts that any of you have about the TRC Symposium or the work that any of you is doing in the Resource Center as it relates to this, I just want to give you an opportunity to speak to any of that if you would like.
I just would like to encourage people to come out. I've had the pleasure of seeing almost the majority of the speakers that are coming this year, and each time that I've had an opportunity to see them, I've walked away inspired and enriched not only in my professional life but also in my personal life. So I think no matter who you are and what your field is, you could definitely benefit from spending the day with us.
Kevin, thank you very much. Heather, anything further?
No, I would echo that. If people think that you have to be in the field to hear these kind of speakers and understand it, absolutely not. They will talk on a very personal level. Everyone will walk away with something, whether you're thinking about working in the field of healthcare, you have, or you never have. There will be something for everybody, and trust me, you won't be disappointed.
Kevin Anderson is the Assistant Director for Employment and Community-Based Services at the Resource Center. Heather Brown, an Assistant Executive Director for Program Operations. Beth Germain, as I said earlier, Support Option Administrator. A final thought from you, if you would like, Beth.
No, I think everybody who comes will enjoy the day and feel really good when you leave.
Tyler, one more time. Best of luck to you as you sit down there on that panel. Tell them the straight story, just like you have today on the radio. It's very meaningful to us.
Yeah, just like Beth, Heather, and Kevin said, I think everyone would benefit through no matter what type of field they're in or what kind of work they do or what kind of situation they are. I think everyone will at least get a chunk of information sink into them, and maybe they learn something that they never known before. And if they knew it before, I'm sure there would be something that they can help them out with their own lives too. Even though they might be related with someone with it or know someone from before, they won't be disappointed.
Thank you very much, Tyler. And Steve Watterson, a moment to close here on Share the Vision today.
We started the symposium because tucked away here in the southwest corner of New York State, it's difficult to hear speakers of this caliber without traveling to Albany or Washington. And, Kevin, Heather, and Beth have all heard most of these speakers, and I'm guessing you didn't hear them anywhere nearby. So it's a great opportunity for, not just our staff, but anyone in the field to come and hear some awesome speakers right in our own backyard. And it's going to be a great day. And we encourage everyone to come out and be part of this event.
To Heather Brown, Kevin Anderson, Beth Germain, Tyler Shaw, and Steve Watterson, thank you all for sharing the vision today.